Welcome in to what's been coming through in the field for a while now, the crystalline nervous system upgrades. And if you don't vibe with the word crystalline, replace it with whatever word feels most resonant. Golden, upgrade, update. Maybe you're in a much more like planetary frequency and it's just like, okay, I just have this nervous system. Like, that's okay. Crystalline is essentially just like a higher octave of golden. You hear some other people use the term diamond as well. We've been on a nervous system, and there's been a lot happening. There's been a lot. There's been, sometimes it's been overwhelming. Sometimes it's been a lot more intense. And some of what we're experiencing is just our own personal stuff, and some of what we're experiencing is a much more collective frequency. I thought this picture was like interesting. This is like a golden. I pulled through some other colors as well. Like normally what I've been seeing, specifically with plasma and the nervous system, is a light blue frequency. Light purple has been coming through. Maybe you're seeing like a golden white. But I thought this was a pretty cool picture. And again, I just want to preface this by saying that I am by no means an expert. This is just some of the things that I'm able to articulate in an aligned way to allow us to basically put into words some of the things that we're experiencing. And that's my goal and my hope today, is that in some of these pictures or in some of these words or in some of the verbiage that's coming through, that it's supported to you, it's supported to what we're all experiencing, and to give you some granularity on some of the things that we're like feeling too, some of the things that we're noticing. So we'll go on to the next slide here. And I won't really read it like word for word. I will read some of the slides, but so if you think about like your phone, right? I got my phone right here. I think we all have phones within like a foot of us typically, or 2 feet of us. If you're an Apple, you have like an iOS, and if you're a Samsung, you got something else. I don't know anything about the non-Apple stuff. And maybe that's like something boomer to say out loud, but people with green messages are people too. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just different than the blue messages. But essentially, the crystalline nervous system it's like an update, right? If you picture it as an operating system, you can view your body as like a bioelectric field. And it's talking here, basically, a good way to visualize it is that like that lattice or grid or matrix, and woven into like your physical form. The crystalline system runs on coherence, conductivity, and calibration or attunement. And we talk about these themes a lot, not so much connectivity, but really we talk about coherence often. We talk about attunement, calibration a lot as well. And if you're interested in coherence or field coherence, I've linked some videos on the different telegrams under either, if you're looking at the Limitless Creators telegram, it'll be under frequency, and if you're looking at the gridplay-limitless telegram, it'll be under like research. Typically, if you want to read about, we'll listen to some of that like field coherence. She does a real good job of bringing that through, allowing you to transmit and stabilize higher harmonic frequencies. So this is 7 to 12D. If you're watching this, you're like, man, I'm way higher than 12D. Absolutely, just acknowledging that. And whatever density or dimension feels most aligned for you. Allowing you to regulate emotions without collapse or feeling overwhelmed. Anchoring that galactic information into the spine, fascia, and your energetic meridians in the body. I've seen it come through in a bunch of different ways. Typically, in my client work or working one-on-one or even just with friends, absolutely seeing just an increase in light, specifically in the spine, different colors, light blue typically. The fascia, we've talked about the fascia, which fascia, if you're not aware, is a very thin layer, covers all of the muscles in your entire body and looks like an actual lattice. So when we're talking about crystalline lattice, we're talking, this is specifically the fascia, and then the meridian fields are, if you work with acupuncture, they're different meridians in the body and interfacing with the quantum field. I like this picture too because it goes from this one to this one, which is okay, and then we have this one, which is a little bit more okay, something's definitely happening here. These are some of the signs that we've talked about earlier: buzzing. Some people describe it as heaviness, or it feels strange, or it feels different. So the second bullet point, emotional neutrality. So in times of increased intensity, having the ability to remain neutral, having that resilience within. The breathing changes. I've noticed some changes in my breathing. You can also use the breath to help you stabilize as well too. We've talked about plasma for a while, moving through, this is hands, feet, spine. I've seen plasma all throughout the physical body and the auric field as well too. A question, so I put some questions throughout here so it's much more interactive for you guys. And feel free to unmute and contribute if that feels aligned, or you can type. A response is, how do you, so synesthetic perception, seeing frequency as light, sound, geometry. Some people it's taste. You've heard the saying taste the rainbow, tasting colors. That can also come through with plant medicine, but how are you perceiving some of these changes? Are you noticing increase of light, seeing sound as moving geometry? I know how I've seen. I'm interested to see how you guys are seeing or noticing some of the stuff. Aurora says, in the morning when I wake up, I just see things all wavy and floaty. Okay. All wavy and floaty. Is this You have so many questions.
Just for a little while. At the beginning, I thought maybe my eyes are not focused, but in the morning, it's just things are just wavy.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else experience anything? If you're watching this via playback, thank you. Feel free to respond. Either leave a comment or drop a message into the Telegram. I'd love to hear what you're experiencing as well too. But yeah, I've noticed all of those things personally myself, and I've had others share with me that they're starting to notice things as well too. We talked about the flu symptoms, excessive yawning. I've seen this come through in a couple different ways. I've seen it during sound baths. I've seen it during healing sessions. I've seen it on plant medicine as well too. And I put energy shifting, but maybe excessive yawning means something else for you. So just wanted to absolutely acknowledge that. Well, yeah, all of these things at different times over the last 10 to 15 years. Okay. So the crystalline nervous system is a way of supporting the body to hold more light. So like 24 into 25, we talked about like light body upgrades, energetic upgrades as well. And all of this, the codes coming from the sun, the codes coming inter or intra-galactically as well too. More extra outside of our solar system coming in. This allows our bodies, our physical vessel, our nervous systems themselves to upgrade, expand, attune, calibrate. They're just telling me out something else too here. I'm just kind of intuitively tapping in. There's something about a harmonic field. Can you clarify that? Human words, preferably. I'm just channeling a little bit here. If you're hearing me speak some weird language and you're like, what is he saying? Oh my gosh. It's how do I describe this? How do you put sound field waves into human-like words? That's what I got. It was the way that it comes through often, and again, I want you to harmonize this with what resonates with you, because this is what I'm coming through, but my truth isn't necessarily your truth. So again, use your own personal discernment. Maybe some of these words hit for you, and maybe they don't. That's okay. Often they will come through and as the galactic dolphins or cosmic whales, when we're talking specifically about harmonics. And they're showing me an energetic field. I'm going to describe it as an energetic field, but it's a sound wave, a sound field that we have. So if you think about the different layers of your aura, and if you're not familiar with the layers of your aura, you can literally like go to ChatGPT or go to Google and just type in auric layers, layers of my aura, and you'll see there are many different layers. One of those has to do with sound. A lot of times you'll hear us verbalize it, or you hear me say, like, as like harmonic, higher harmonic, elevated, like increase, like a new higher octave. That's how it typically comes through. So the crystalline nervous system will also help support that as well too. Crystalline nervous system thrives on, and you see a bunch of different things listed there. Obviously, like hydration has been huge. Minerals, herbs came through. I don't know if I wrote that down as well. Sunlight, grounding, getting out into nature, being on the land. Your breath is super activating, elongating the exhale. So you can do you can even practice here if this feels aligned. They'll typically say like take a sharp deep breath in, hold, sip at the top typically to expand the lungs, and then a long slow exhale on the way out. So, and typically you like make a sound on the way out. You can do somatic shaking, somatics period toning. The conscious rest was interesting to me because it's like, you know how people say like you catch people falling asleep? Like, hey, were you asleep? And like, no, I'm just resting my eyes. Like my grandfather would say that all the time. You're like, are you sure about that? Spending time in the crystalline grids themselves, and then inner child, like the frequency of joy and play. Sorry, my mouse is making weird sounds if you're hearing that. Coherence is key, and you'll hear us talk about coherence quite a bit. Crystalline coherence is like alignment, attunement, thoughts, breath, emotions, momentum. The original word was like movement, but momentum are all synchronized with your intention, right? So having stability in your field, having coherence, that can also mean like I am presence, being present, the actual your personal embodiment is key, and this allows your nervous system to like actually resonate out instead of just like being super reactive. So if you think about somebody, you can think of somebody, maybe it's yourself, right? Maybe it's your partner. Think about somebody you know that provides you stability or helps. They're just like a very calm person, right? You can even think of like monks. They're in the U.S. If you're in the States, monks are walking across the U.S. for peace right now. To me, that's one of those, like you think of a monk as somebody who is very like stable, very anchored, very like calm. Broadcasting out. So if we talk about like your frequency in turn is your vibration, and your vibration is what allows you to magnetize or so magnetize is like bring in, broadcast is like send out, instead of that frequency of like chasing, right? Chasing is, so I would say like a lower vibe, right? Being so sovereignty overall, but energetic sovereignty is huge. And then your auric field amplified and expanded. When we talked about the embodiment and the I am frequency. So your auric field can expand from your body. If this is the first time you're hearing it, your aura or your auric field can expand out from your body anywhere from like 1 to, I've heard, up to 12 feet out, right? Sometimes you have the ability to see it. Some people have the ability to perceive their aura, their auric field. Sometimes you can feel it too. If you've ever walked into a room or had somebody come into your room and it catches your attention and you just like turn, like what is that, right? Or maybe you have like a strange feeling come over you, a feeling of like uneasy, like what is that? This picture here, she looks like pretty calm, huh? She's just kind of just chilling. I always love to give you guys practical steps on how to work with whatever it is that's coming through. So this is how to work with the crystalline nervous system. Understanding it is step 1. I'll let you kind of read over it there. Designed for frequency regulation, multidimensional awareness, which is remembrance, and quantum coherence. We already talked about the first bullet point, and I had a question for those here, a choice point, if you will. Can you achieve quantum coherence? And this is a new term, quantum coherence. So we talked about coherence, but quantum coherence is, I would say, like an elevated frequency to just normal standard field coherence. If your field is unstable or incoherent, would love to hear your thoughts on that specifically. Can you achieve quantum coherence if your field is unstable or incoherent? Feel free to just unmute. What do you guys think? I need that Jeopardy sound. Do, 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 do. Or any thoughts? Can you be coherent if your field is unstable or incoherent? Can you achieve quantum coherence if your field is unstable or incoherent?
Don't know. Hee
Well, that's what I'm asking. This is like comprehension. It's
I
like,
think
okay,
the word achieve is where I kind of get like, eh,
okay. We'll harmonize
because
the word achieve. If the achieve is messing
yeah,
you
it's
up,
like
just
so.
leave it out.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, how would you harmonize that? Like, because learning how to do something or how to
Can
be
you
in different
be can you
states.
be quantumly coherent if your field is unstable or incoherent? If achieve is messing you up, change it into something that's like much more.
You experience it.
Yeah. Yeah, can you experience quantum coherence if your field is unstable or incoherent? That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of.
I think you can get like glimmers, like as you are learning how to focus yourself and stabilize yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's totally possible to have experiences of that, but to like achieve slash maintain, that's not my experience.
Right, yeah. No, that's a good explanation. I like that. Thanks for saying that. I think you definitely
Oh,
can. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think you can. So it's like when you are in a really chaotic place, but you can still get into the 0 point.
Hmm.
So I think you absolutely can achieve quantum coherence.
I like that. That's a good explanation, actually. I think both points are completely valid. Um, I think you can definitely call in the 0 point, absolutely. Especially in our community, we all have access to the quantum. We all have access or experience in the 0 point. Um, I would say not everyone, and maybe you disagree with me, and that's okay too. We don't have to agree on everything, but I would say not everyone has access to the quantum um, or the astral. Some people are much more planetary. Um, they're here to work in just this one system, the planet. And I'm not saying that this is you. I'm just saying, um, maybe they don't have access to the 0 point. Maybe they've never meditated in their life, or maybe um, they're somewhere in between, right? Because there's all levels and layers. Um, yeah, it's just a talking point. I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. I would say like I think like in order to have coherence, you do need to be stable. Personally, I think you can find moments of calm in the chaos. Absolutely, we've all been there. We've all typically it's like removing yourself from something, right? So I need to go back to my center. I'm going to leave whatever is causing my field to be unstable. And a lot of times it's like I say, well, the reason that I'm feeling this way is because of this. And you're pointing to something outside of you, right? You're pointing to somebody saying, you pissed me off. You did this. I'm observing world hunger. I'm observing the war in Ukraine. It's causing my field to be unstable, right? It's something external to us. And it's an interesting way of thinking about things, right? Sometimes even as the quantum observer, because if you think about like quantum mechanics, um, the double slit experiment, right? In a way too, it's like as the observer, if you put yourself in that position, as we are manifesting our reality, we are the quantum observer. And as we observe with whatever our field is, whatever our current coherence is, that's what stabilizes into the field. And that's what is creating our reality. And again, we're kind of talking like around and through the subject, so I just thought it was an interesting question. Thank you for participating.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
and
I like
there
that. It was fun.
there is a movie. Is a animated movie. I forgot its name, but it's talking about the observer that changed the reality. Not sure any of you watched that movie. So that person so outside is like all like people are fighting very chaotic, but he is the observer, so he need to change the reality to change the reality into the good, the desired one, the desired reality. So I think it's like talking about this. Too bad I don't remember the name of that movie.
Well, when it comes to you, do share.
Yeah, if you guys have anything else, please go ahead. Yeah, drop it into the Telegram or let us know. I'd be interested to hear that. I don't know if Vincent had, you had something,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, I know that we are completely unlimited beings of light. So like we're just putting ourselves into a limitation by saying that we can't, and so we won't be in harmonization at a quantum level sometimes. So that's just where we are if we are trying to just perceive ourselves only from the physical beingness. Otherwise, we are always harmonized with the quantum field because we are the quantum field itself, basically. So there's no other way we could be other than being harmonized with it. We just choose to not be harmonized with it here as our human physical self.
But you're not like be in that level of awareness or self-awareness. Like when you feel that pushback, when you have those things that can like that you experience as having power, as taking you out of your center, or as the reason why you feel something, like it's every time I hear that, it's like my brain is all over it. It's like, wait, where am I giving my power away? Where did I sit down my power? Because that I don't have to live that way anymore. Just have to be like choose awareness and see. It's not always fun to see how I've given my power away or how I've allowed somebody else to make choices that then I have my feelings about. But it was my call to pass on it. Huh? Okay. Yeah, I lost my train of thought now. But yeah, I think I was pretty much done.
No, I love it. I love Vincent's share, Aurora's share as well too. I think they're it's absolutely like valid. It's like and I wanted to, so this picture on the left, I really like this picture. I made this picture, and so we're talking about the crystalline nervous system, and we're talking about understanding it, and but then also the question is specifically about like quantum coherence and field stability, right? And I can just imagine, if you imagine for a minute, like this picture I was picturing essentially is like when we are in like first contact or open contact, and there's that moment, right, where a flying saucer or a ship of some type basically materializes over your city, stabilizes out of the quantum field, and appears. And you can imagine like what people are going to be experiencing, right, at like a very collective level. And we're talking about like field stability and coherence, and then here's somebody who's basically just stepped outside and she's like lighting a cigarette, right? And I just love the contrast of like, because maybe from her as the observer in her reality, this person here, I think she has blonde hair, could be wrong, her field is completely stable and coherent. You know, maybe this is what she uses to stabilize her field, right? And the stress or the increased sensitivity in the field from first contact or open contact is now inducing some instability, right? So I just found the picture like really interesting. And then the last bullet point here too, increased throughput in processing. Let me read what somebody wrote here. Did I interrupt you, Vincent? Oh, okay. Yeah, Vincent, if you have anything else to share, let us know, bro. Absolutely, please. Increased throughput in processing. So specifically with the nervous system, so think of the human nervous system, right? All of the different, parasympathetic, sympathetics, like fight or flight, rest and digest. The crystalline nervous system allows for increased ability, capability, and also like processing. To kind of give you a little bit of context, what I was bringing through there. Supporting the physical body. We talked a little bit about this earlier. Ways to support the physical body. Eating food still with light. So this is like some people at different points in your life. Like there's some debate on like eating meat, right? Because in order to get meat, you have to like take the life of something, right? Eating food still with light is, like fruits are grown with light, vegetables, things of that water. Structured water, I think, is great. Different electrolytes. We talked about the sun and grounding, the importance of that. If you have access to cold immersion, if you don't, you can use cold showers. It's great for building resilience in the nervous system as well. And then, of course, detoxing to clear out lymphatic drainage too. I know some people are like really into, they go in to like different wellness centers and do these types of things, whether it's like detox, lymph, fascia. Maybe feel called to work with an acupuncturist or a doctor of Oriental medicine as well too. Aurora said I can fast for a long time. Wow. Yeah, fasting is great. Intermittent fasting, regular fasting. I think all of those are great too. Here's some energetic practices for crystalline calibration. And I think Aurora was saying she knows the guy on the top left. If you go to YouTube, so these help to strengthen your capacity to interface with the higher fields. So breath work, I gave you an example of 4-7-8, which we've done quite a bit. 3-6-9 is also another version of that, or 8-8. Breathing is 8. It's an 8 count in, and it's not just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like 8, 7, 6. Like it's a slower count, basically. 8 seconds. Humming, chanting, mantras like Om. If you could just do one, just do Om, or speaking light language as well too is like, I would say overall the most calibrating, the most activating for your personal field. You can do visualizations for the spine itself, activating your central panel, your central channel, your central pillar. Imagining that crystalline or radiant light going up and down the chakras, up and down the spine, and then feeling into your actual light body, expanding your awareness into the light body as well. Neural network. You can visualize, use colors to visualize as well, expanding into these different, whether it's your light body, whether it's through your actual nervous system, imagining it, going into every single cell in your body. You can even imagine it going into the fascia. So the fascia is that covering around every single muscle. So if you have a muscle, so your whole body is covered in different muscles. Every single muscle is covered in fascia, and it's that like lattice or that grid, crystalline like structure that covers the muscles. Moving on here. Emotional and nervous system repatterning. So crystalline activation, and again, use your own discernment, cannot occur in chronic dysregulation. Plenty of things can cause chronic or long-term dysregulation. Trauma specifically is like the number one thing that comes to mind. There are other things, life circumstances, I would say mental health, mental illness can cause chronic dysregulation as well. And if you've been in community or you've been in spirituality for a while, this requires deep nervous system healing. So a lot of us, at some point in spirituality, feel the call for healing. You can witness your triggers, taking time instead of just like that like quick snap reaction. Take time before you respond. Maybe you need to like take a pause or step away. And I think that's a good practice in order to not escalate or continue to make things, continue the dysregulation, I guess. Having compassion for yourself. And slow integration. I like this, slow integration after energetic spikes. So our nervous systems have different resiliency or different capacity, and some people are able to basically process and move through things at different paces or levels. Some people can do it fast, some people have to do it slow. So really just being compassionate for yourself, and you can use somatic movement, intuitive flow, ecstatic dance. If you're looking for ecstatic dance music, you can go to YouTube, wherever you listen to music, Spotify, Apple Music, and just type in ecstatic dance, and they have just like an unlimited amount of playlists, and you can just put on your headsets and make some time throughout the day to just like really flow. Body work, if you're not familiar, so body work is essentially a blanket umbrella term for different modalities dealing with touching the body, basically. I would say craniosacral falls underneath that, massage falls underneath that. Cuddle puddle or co-regulation is another option as well too. Again, use your own discernment when it comes to these. These are just suggestions. I make suggestions and you make decisions with what's best for you. Getting connected to your body, so checking in with the body, because many of us are disconnected. You wouldn't believe, and if this is the first time that you're hearing about this, you're like, I'm not disconnected from my body, and you're like, just consider is all I'm saying, that this could potentially be you, right? If you don't have a regular, I would say daily practice to connect to your body, highly consider that maybe this is you. That's all I'm asking you. So this is under the umbrella of emotional and nervous system repatterning. And if you do find yourself not as connected to your body as you would like, that's what some of these practices are there to help you with. Working with your inner child, your inner protector, creating safety within the body. And I would love to hear from you how you create safety within the body, how you connect to your inner child or your inner protector. Or maybe you can even share some of these practices that are up here on the slide that are really speaking loudly to you. So please feel free to unmute and share. And again, if you're watching the playback or you're listening to your audio, please share. I would absolutely love to witness you in your practices. So I don't know if any of you guys, Christina or Vincent, have anything you'd like to share. Yeah, like how you connect with your inner child, how do you connect with your inner protector, how do you create or feel safe within the body?
A lot of those questions I've only been able to really answer like somewhat recently, like in the last several years. My nervous system was just so dysregulated before that even after a couple of years of like working with like in therapy with people who understand trauma, like it was like I didn't understand the progression of trauma and healing trauma. And so that made things look really confusing, I think, a lot. And like feedback as far as how well I was doing with regulating myself and like witnessing and being interested instead of being triggered and immediately thrust into whether it's a flashback or an emotion or thoughts about the flashback or emotion, you know? So yeah, I think I spent a lot of time with all of these, and my first go-to is probably still like is breath. And sometimes in order for me to like really connect in with my breath, like sometimes it's like I need to put some noise canceling headphones on, or I need to have something to focus on like the texture of something, um, or like the room that I'm in. But it's now that I'm more stable as far as like I don't really have flashbacks like that anymore. I don't get confused about when it is the way that I used to, but it used to be really extreme. Um, and yeah, being able to like drink of like a nice hot cup of coffee or tea that was like really good. Like just I feel like I would immerse myself in one of my senses and then I could connect with my breath. And then, oh my gosh, I have a body. Let's connect to it. It's like I wouldn't even be aware that I wasn't connected or aware of what was happening in my body until I could kind of get back with my breath. And that took years. Took years. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's a vulnerable share. I really appreciate. I think there's a lot of value there in what you shared. Love that. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share with us?
Yeah, man. I've spent quite a lot of time with myself, like by myself, and it has allowed me to like expand into the areas that I had trauma when I was younger, and bringing that through. And then, like once I worked through this lifetime's worth of trauma, I went into past life trauma and like found like I'd have a place in my body that hurt. I'd allow it to hurt, and then it would show me where I'd had a past life trauma in that area, and I just started like the main thing that I would do was just always extend love to it, and no matter what, like I just like I I would get to the place of observing it, like and seeing it, and like I would experience it and I'd allow it to come up and be a part of my experience for whatever time it was, even if I didn't really have time, I maybe was dealing with somebody else at the moment. I would allow that experience to be just working with me in the background because I knew it would help me to like have a better experience with the here and the now. And now, like I work through with I allow my inner child to come through when it needs to. It's all ebb and flows with the natural energy that's around me a lot of the time, and being able to understand that, because your traumas will come up at and make themselves known, or there would be a situation that will come up in your life where you will experience the same but not the same thing as the original trauma that you experienced in your life. And a lot of times those things will keep repeating themselves because they're kind of like a geometry. And so you'll go, your subconscious will be like, okay, we need to fix this. And so it'll bring you to a place where you that's close to what the kind of trauma that you would have, and you experience that, and then your subconscious will take that information and compare it to what happened with the original trauma. And so when you can start to understand that geometry, it's like a triangle, but the more and more it becomes like several faceted kind of geometric shape, and the more you can go and you can find the points of those of that geometric shape and take it and kind of disassemble it, you can come back to your original state of wondering what it was that you needed to do in order to experience something. And so you bring it all the way around. And so if I ever find myself that I keep having something that's reoccurring in my life, I'll go and I'll sit and try to see how many different times I've had that experience, and kind of just deconstruct that through observing each one of those experiences. And it kind of helps you it can help you, it did for me. It can help you break it down into its simplest form, which is just the experiencer of that. And then that's that at that place you just extend love from your heart center into it, and you're able to allow yourself to be in any situation that comes up in a more of an observer state. And when you're into that observer state, you can see the emotions that come up during those points where you're actually like, oh, here I am. What emotion was that I was just feeling? And then you allow that emotion to build to its explosive set and then relax back into you. And that's the point of mutual restraint, is because you want the motion is like your center point. As it builds and expands, that's the masculine version of yourself. But when you can bring it back into itself, that's the feminine version of yourself. And when you're able to hold each one of those in a mutual restraint, allowing the expansion and the contraction at the same time, your soul starts to integrate with you and give you the hints and the clues as to what's happening. So you're not completely clueless as to what it is. And that's a lot of what our emotions are doing, is trying to build our intuition of what each situation is going to bring to us. So that's kind of where I'm at with all that experience of I haven't been really defining if it's my inner child or my blooming adult that I'm dealing with, or I'm just more in dealing with the emotion of it and feeling the emotion of it and allowing it to bring me focus my soul, what its desire wants, and what I have kind of contracted myself to do, to experience. And sometimes I can get I bring all of my choice points in, and I can see at that point what each of those choices can do. It can where each one of those will lead and how I will feel in the future from that choice point. It's us stepping into the crystalline self of your beingness. It's like working along the lattice of the crystal itself, basically, where you can be the outer portion of the crystal or the inner portion of the crystal, and holding the information that you get from each one of those, because that's basically like when I connect to crystals, that's what I get, is like each crystal that I have is carrying a certain area's vibration and information. It holds all that information all into itself. And the way you go around through the crystal lattice or the fascia itself, that you actually are you get the different information. You can go backwards through it and get a certain information that will be different if you go forward through that same lattice. So yeah, it's very quantum in its beingness of how it flows through itself. And so that's kind of where I play with it myself.
Yeah, that was great, man. So much cool information there. Thank you for sharing that and articulating it in such an aligned way. And thank you, Christina, for your share as well too. Yeah, that's great. Christina said 100. I really like how you put that. Is what Christina said. Yeah, thank you. All right, next slide. Continuing on, ceremonial and quantum practices. Okay, ceremonial and quantum practices. So you can create an altar, you can create a grid. This is actually my most recent grid at the top as of Saturday. I think that was the last one that I did on Saturday. And I know it's kind of like zoomed out in a way, but if you're a grid worker, I feel like you're into grids at some type of grid, whether you're gridding yourself, like Vincent was talking about, or you're actually creating crystal grids, or maybe you're on the land itself and making grids. And we always love to see all of the things you're up to. So please, if you do something like that, share with us into the Telegram. So grid calibration, you can go to power sites. Vincent is well tapped into the ability to locate these power sites. Typically, sacred sites are built on power sites as well. So maybe you're maybe you're drawn to visit certain places that are around you, and maybe it's not necessarily like a quote-unquote sacred site. Like, you don't have to fly all the way to Egypt. You can literally just get out onto the land and intuitively tap into the grids themselves and connect into your body with the lands. That's part of what being a grid worker is. You can do guided meditations, guided activations, visualizing or activating, or just visiting your crystalline nervous system as a conscious entity, which I found this like really interesting. I was like, oh, like a visualization specifically for your crystalline nervous system. There's been a lot of solar activity recently. Good way to get activated and being out in the actual solar activity. And if you want to steer clear of like the UV, you can go early in the day or closer to sunset. Obviously, use your own discernment when it comes to being out in those different things. Continuing on with the ceremonial and quantum practices, we have brought through some of these different types of metaphysical architecture in different ways. So there's the rainbow bridge frequency. You can click actually on the PDF, or if you have the slides up, you can actually click on the playback itself, and that'll link you to the rainbow bridge if you're not familiar with that frequency. Even more recently, we brought through the crystalline bridge. So on our grid play call, we actually built a crystalline bridge and kind of co-channeled that frequency, which was really interesting because that wasn't really the original purpose of. So these things come in, these different types of metaphysical architecture come in to support us in many different ways. Quantum healing. Reiki, energy work, period. These two ladies on the picture are actually two ladies from my healing center. And this is on the website, it's a public picture. But that gives you an idea of, so quantum healing is a little bit of a different frequency, and I didn't know this at the time, so it's very different than just traditional Reiki or traditional energy work, okay? Quantum healing, adding the quantum in front of healing, means healing across all lifetime, like across lifetimes and across timelines, okay? Whereas you may receive a traditional energy healing or energy clearing, or maybe you go and you receive like Reiki specifically. Quantum healing is a higher octave. It's a different frequency than very traditional energy work. So I just wanted to point that out as a quantum healer myself. The frequency of quantum harmonization can also be very supportive, and we've channeled that through in a bunch of different ways here on the Grid Play and Limitless Creators. If you're interested in that specific frequency, I linked the video playback there. If this is the first time you're hearing about quantum harmonization, light body activation, and I'll pose another question to those who are here present with me on the call. And Aurora brought this up even more recently. So something that's come through fairly recently, I would say in the last 3 to 4 months, is now noticing that we are having multiple light bodies activating. So not just like what I would consider a traditional light body, but now it's an upgraded frequency, an updated octave to our light bodies, and having multiple and even several light bodies activated. I put a couple examples there on the bottom left of the slides: dragon light body, angelic light body, elemental. I'm interested to hear what's coming through for you guys, specifically about light body activation. What do you have activated yourself? What have you noticed? What's come online? What's new? What's loud? So we'd love to feel free to unmute and share. I know Aurora shared some stuff, but I'm interested to hear. And if you have any questions about that too, feel free to share that with us as well too. So leaving some space here. Okay, I'll read Christina shares. I used to get called to the Garden of the Gods all the time. I'm assuming this is in Colorado, right? And I'd be directed to a specific turnoff and have a few spots I went to countless times and just sat on the huge rocks, sometimes staring at Pikes Peak. Yes, Colorado Springs. Okay, thank you. And just sat on the rocks, sometimes sitting, staring at Pikes Peak, mostly just being with the earth, the wind, etc. for hours, sometimes exploring energy where I sat, sometimes seeing gridded light lines on the mountains, felt a lot of time aligning with the rocks and myself at a molecular level. Okay, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Okay, got a picture. Is this picture of is this Pikes Peak? That's me and my mom at the spot. Okay, so I'll share that at the end here, just for the completion of the video. Yeah, thanks. That's a cool picture. The mountain peak in the background is Pikes Peak. Okay, cool. Nice, I like that. Very nice, very nice. Anybody else have anything to share? Anything specific about light bodies or any of the other topics that was coming through? Aurora, did you want to share anything about light bodies?
That's all the dragon. That's all the light body type I'm aware of. I wonder if you can have Mantis being light body.
Oh, maybe Vincent can answer that. Vincent's connected to the Mantis beings. Vincent, can you have a Mantis light body? Question mark. Inquiring minds want to know.
It's gonna. Yeah, I think that like the mantis beings that I talk to, they are a version of our council. Like basically, they are a light body. They come in as light. They don't have like a physical. They do have like when I see them connecting like their antennae together in a triangle together. And their energy is like super, yeah, super concentrated, I guess, is what like it like. I have like when I connect to them and I'm talking in Mantis light being light language, it I feel it at the top of my crown, and then my heart is like it feels like it's catching on fire. Like I can go for a little while. Like I know they're, and I feel them holding back their energy, basically. And so, yeah, I feel like I know one of them is an aspect of like myself, but I know there's a couple of us, or like, and I feel that it's a group light being, like it's like a monad where it's a group of light beings together, just like our sun is like, it's a logos, so it has multiple light beings who are creating the light of it. So yeah, that's kind of what I get from it.
Nice. Yeah, love that, man. Let me share the slides back again. Okay. Mantis being is an ascended master from another universe. Okay. Yeah, and just to clarify the question too that Aurora had posed, and what I put on the slide, and again, this is what I'm channeling. So dragon, angelic, and elemental. Intuitively, as I was feeling into and tapping into this question, I felt like that there are other light bodies that are possible, that are activated in the now moment. I just don't have conscious awareness. Otherwise, I would absolutely tell you about those additional light bodies. But I have seen the angelic light body in clients, in friends, and I have a dragon light body activated myself personally. My light body is a dragon light body. Highly recommend. If you don't have your dragon light body activated, set an intention and call it in. If you want unlimited amounts of energy to do literally anything, dragon light body is the way to go. Okay, let me go to the next slide here. Okay, yeah, we're almost to the end of the slides here. So we're talking about basically supporting, and I'll go up. So we're still under ceremonial and quantum practices, still under that heading. So one of the other things that can be very supportive to you is multidimensional soul integration. So many of us in JJ's community are very familiar with multidimensional soul integration. If you are not from JJ Brighton's community, that's great. So happy that you're here listening to this call with us, and welcome. This is essentially a modality that allows you to integrate fully a parallel past or future version of yourself, a lifetime, if you will. We call them soul aspects. Use whatever word feels most aligned to you. This can be very supportive to the nervous system. This can actually help activate your crystalline nervous system, help support your physical nervous system. If you would like to know additional details, I linked a video there. You can just click on the video link and watch the video. JJ basically explains what is a soul integration. And practitioners like myself, Rachel, and others, and our links are there if you want to click on those. If you're interested, we would love to support you in whatever way feels most aligned. So this picture on the bottom left, this is the Sri Yantra. That symbol specifically is one that is associated with multidimensional soul integration. So that's why I put it onto the slides. All right, so I wanted to give you something actionable, and I know the slide, we're still going through the slides and only got like, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 more left. So this is a channeling from me, and I'm not, so when I tell you things or when I share things with our community, a lot of this I have experienced myself. So I'm not just like pulling it out of thin air, being like, boom, this is the crystalline nervous system. You know, I'm not pulling it out of thin air. This is a channeled, what is on the slide is what I have channeled and what I have activated and anchored myself with others. This specific modality, the specific way of activating it is something that I've used. This isn't the only way to activate your crystalline nervous system, and I just want to be absolutely clear. I'm just sharing with you, hey, this is something that I have done, something that I have channeled, something that I have activated, and this is the way that I did it. And the picture is in Moab, Utah, which is southern Utah. If you're not from the States or you're not familiar with Moab, very amazing place, located right next to, it's a small city located next to 3 national parks. Red Rock, kind of like similar to Sedona as well too. And it is, you're in high desert. You're literally in the desert. The Colorado River rips right through Moab, and it's just an amazing, magical, very quantum place on the grid specifically. So I wrote out for you essentially, and again, I'm not gatekeeping any of this. I want you to have a crystalline nervous system upgrade if you haven't already. So I'm just sharing with you. It looks very magical. Thank you. Yeah. This is what we channel together. I'm not the only person that channeled it, but since I'm the one on the call here, I'm sharing with you what we channeled together, what we activated. At the time, I didn't understand, or we didn't understand, or call it the crystalline nervous system. We set a very specific intention to channel in an upgrade protocol specifically. So the intention for the ceremony, for the ritual, was for upgrades. I didn't say crystalline nervous system. Now I know 6-7 months later, because this was back in July, 6 going on 7 months later, what came through. I didn't have that comprehension that night when we did it. But on the right-hand side here, again, this isn't the only way to do it. I feel intuitively you could do this by yourself. It's much more powerful and potent to build a field with others. So as a limitless creator, quantum creator, 5D, 12D creator, you absolutely can call this in all by yourself. But as we have experienced and as we've known, and from a practical application, divine feminine, divine masculine is very, very powerful, potent, aligned. That embodiment frequency is the future. So while you can definitely do this protocol alone, I would personally highly recommend doing it with a divine. And it doesn't necessarily, again, divine feminine and divine masculine doesn't necessarily mean male body, female body. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's specifically the frequency of the divine feminine, specifically the frequency of the divine masculine. It could be a feminine body as the divine masculine. It could be a masculine body embodying the divine feminine frequency. So just kind of keep that in mind. It could be 2 feminines, 2 masculines. I'll just leave it at that. So you stand back to back, so spinal column to spinal column, which is your central channel, your central pillar. Your chakra system runs along your actual spine. We did it at night, so lunar, very yin, right? The lunar frequency versus during the daytime, which is the solar logos, the sun, very yang. Setting your intention, which is always what you should do. We use sound, so you can use music, you can use instruments, you can use a drum, whatever it is, right? You can use your voice, you can sing, hum, buzz, speak light language, recite mantras. I did all of those. All of the above is what we did. Interlinking, so this is again, maybe this is the first time you've heard about it, but you can basically expand your own personal grid out as like this. Imagine this is a grid, right? This is your grid. It's flat, or it's 3D, expanding out all around you. You can interlink your grid with one another and expand that grid outward. I didn't write it on the slide, but what I saw and what I perceived was approximately 50, 55, 60 feet outwards. It looked like circular concentric rings with the element of fire. That's what it looked like to me. And when I say look, I mean like clear abilities, cognizance, like knowing, and also being able to visualize. Spiraling concentric circles of the element of fire is what I worked with specifically for my personal activation, invoking a field of quantum flow or 0 point. And the last bullet point here before the precaution, stable and coherent field. I think I've touched on that a couple times as we've gone throughout here. So I have a very stable and coherent field. It just makes things easier. So I just want to put an exclamation point, stable and coherent field, exclamation point, exclamation point. Precaution. So if you choose to do this, and that's the reason I'm sharing it with you, if you would like to activate your crystalline nervous system, here's how I did it. Recommend that protocol. Activating this protocol will absolutely activate your frequency of remembrance. If you're not familiar with what the frequency of remembrance is, that is lifting the veil of forgetting and remembering who you truly are. Activating your multidimensional self, tapping into the higher version of who you are in a much more plain, non-spiritual way of saying it. Likely to cause initiations, 3 exclamation points. Without a doubt, likely to cause initiations. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute or type them into the comment section below, and I absolutely would be able to answer those for you. I think this is our next to last slide, so thank you, or maybe the last slide. So thanks for hanging in here. So these are some ways to recognize signs of the activation itself. Specifically crystalline nervous system activation. We've talked about a lot of these different things. So on the left is some of the things that you may be experiencing. On the right is an interpretation of what that meaning is. So we talked about the buzzing, the tingling, energy moving through your actual crystalline channels themselves, increasing synchronicities. Maybe you're seeing angel numbers like crazy, becoming much more intuitive, spontaneously activating your light language where you didn't speak light language before, or having new dialects coming in, expanded coherence with your higher self. Feelings of peace or much more emotional capacity, emotional depth, emotional resiliency. That is a sign that your nervous system, your crystalline nervous system, your nervous system is able to hold more, is much more online, much more activated. We've talked a lot recently, I think even last week, we talked about the dream space. Some people may be experiencing burnout, anxiety, or hypersensitivity, and I can say, without a doubt, I have observed that in a much more collective frequency at the end of 2025. And there's a call there or an invitation to detox, slow down, ground, and nourish yourself. So interested to hear what else you have noticed. Again, this isn't just like the fate show. This is like a collective kind of co-channeling. So would love to hear what you may have noticed. Feel free to unmute or type it in there. And this is the last slide here. So yeah, if you've noticed or experienced signs, symptoms, increased sensitivities, new things coming online, would love to hear about that. By sharing with one another, we're able to kind of co-activate, and it may be something that you're experiencing that somebody else who's listening to this or listening to the playback is like, oh my gosh, it's exactly what I'm, or you put words to something that I'm feeling. So there's an invitation there to share if that feels aligned. And maybe we covered it all. So you guys let me know. And while you're thinking of something, this is the, so this is Sharon drew this. It's the diamond crystalline core dragon energy from the inner earth, and I just thought that it should be here. It just felt right when we're talking about like specifically like crystalline upgrades, crystalline nervous system. We've had an inner earth call just like I think it was last week actually. It was either last week or the week before, where we were talking about the triad frequency of inner earth. Dragon energy is something we've been talking about as well. The image is really speaking to me. That's what Christina shared. Okay, thank you. Yeah, and if anything's coming through on the image, feel free to share that as well too. Anything specific. Yeah, did anybody have anything, any like questions or comments that they wanted to share? Was there anything specifically about the protocol that you had a question on too? I'll leave that up there. You'll have the slides, or you can screenshot it. Intuitively, this isn't the only way, clearly. It's in the field. I've anchored it into the field. Other people have anchored it into the field. I probably channeled it out of the field. So if you're looking for an aligned way to activate or further co-create with your crystalline nervous system, this is probably, but this is one of the ways. This is the way that I use personally. And again, I'm just speaking for myself too. The image, the feel of it in Moana when grandmother is dancing on the rocks and in the water. That was the one specifically for Sharon's? Okay. Okay, here. The image, the feel of it in Moana, which is the Disney movie Moana, when grandmother is dancing on the rocks and in the water. Yeah, I can see that. Totally. I don't know if Aurora, do you have anything else to share, or Vincent, anything else you guys want to chat about? And again, this is a pretty decent list of like comprehensive signs. This isn't all of them, but like I shared at the beginning of the slides, it's like I'm not an expert in the crystalline nervous system, but I can share with you what I've experienced. I can share with you what I'm channeling and what's coming through from the actual field itself. And that's part of our community, is kind of co-channeling, co-sharing, co-activating this crystalline frequency, this updated higher octave. so that we can all kind of net spiral together on this ascension path within our community. So stop the share here.